Breaking news is, of course, Francis Ngannou has signed for the PFL. I think we all had an inkling that it was going to happen for some time, but it's still somewhat shocking just to see. There's pictures of him now out there in the PFL gear. Some of the stipulations in his contract are really quite groundbreaking for the sport, I think, especially the minimum wage of 2 million for his opponents, his place on the PFL board now as director of PFL Africa, his ability to use his own sponsors. This is a landmark moment in MMA in general, I think, in the sport's short history. Murdo, I mean, what do you make of this news?
Yeah, I've got quite. I mean, first off, people who are criticizing him for taking it. Well, listen, worst case scenario, he gets paid a lot of money, plus the freedom to have sponsors in and out of the case. So who knows how much money that brings in? He's getting paid. It's probably going to be, sponsors including close to 10 million a fight to fight low caliber opposition with the freedom and to be out of the clutches of the UFC. He can wear what he wants. He can, it's not, do you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. But
technically you can't. They still have their quite strict shorts
but
and all that.
but like
octagon,
you won't they won't make him change shoes before he does the bloody press conference though, like they do other people, which is just
You'll
mental.
make
But
them change shoes.
yeah, exactly. But like I think like best case is that he's people are talking about like legacy. This is like a legacy defining thing if it all works out, because
Yeah.
it's all well and good being having shares in the company and being on the board of PFL Africa. That doesn't mean anything right now. That's it's like it's not an established brand yet. There's still questions with the PFL. Can they sell pay-per-views? So if everything goes right, then yeah, it's all going to work out very well for him. Very well for him. But at worst case, I think it's better than the situation he had with the UFC anyway.
Yeah, 100%. I just think it's such a big thing in that, like, it's sort of flipped the MMA landscape on its head. For so long, elite fighters, the best fighters in the world, like Ngannou, there was never any real question where he was going to go, especially a heavyweight, the marquee division in any combat sports. Yeah, it's crazy. There's a couple of interesting things in there. Obviously, I guess the big one is that are people going to tune in to see Ngannou fight low-level heavyweight opposition? Because the thing is, they definitely will the first time.
Yeah.
I think their first pay-per-view event with Ngannou will do exceptionally well. But after that,
see, this is the thing as well. It's like a 2-3 fight deal.
yeah,
Like, he's betting on himself here, and he could get, a good chunk of change. He probably won't need to work ever again in his life. But, if he's wanting,
don't have to.
But if he's wanting what he ultimately wants, he has to not only win, but it's got to be a show. People have got to tune in. People have got to want it after. So it's like, I don't know. It's like people are making out like, oh, this is a guarantee. These like people are like seem to be on just either side. They're like, it's bad or it's good. But I think it has its drawbacks, but also I think like he's probably made the right decision for him, and he's probably a lot happier than he would be if he's in the UFC, and ultimately that's what matters. But yeah, as you say, matchups in the heavyweight division, we know how paper thin it is because we watch the UFC week in, week out. We see the heavyweights on the main card, whether it be ranked or unranked. It's not really that good. There's not a lot of matchups that kind of really get you going. I mean, realistically, how many elite heavyweights are there in the world? Not a whole bunch, in my opinion. So
and most of them are in the UFC. Let's be honest as well.
So it's how do they find a compelling matchup? Because like it's all well and good Francis using him as that power as a kind of almost a circus act, but what they're going to get in, I don't know, some 41-year-old or Jorgen de Castro to not get knocked out. Who cares?
Oh Lord.
Like realistically, what does that really do for you?
Yeah. We spoke about this a little bit off camera, but the one there is the Doom, right?
Yeah.
Obviously way past his prime. left the UFC. I don't think he fought in the last maybe even 2 PFL seasons, but he's a former champion, a very well-known name. I suppose he's got very elite jiu-jitsu, so people could try to play that as something. That's probably the one, right? Unless Bellator get purchased by the PFL, that changes things a bit because suddenly there's a bigger. There's a bigger pool.
Which Bellator heavyweight do you want to see fight Francis Ngannou?
Ryan Bader.
It's a compelling matchup.
Ryan
Don't say
Bader.
Ryan Bader, please, please. No, I'm not listening, Frank. Come on.
Linton Vassell.
Oh God. Oh, it's like this, and if the Verdum thing, I've seen him recently. I saw the photo he's taken. If he's not on gear and he's on that, like he is failing the sniff test, in my opinion. I'm not saying that he's definitely on it, but I don't think he'd want USADA coming to his door anytime soon. So this is the thing. It's like if PFL want to be established as a proper organization and be where they want to be, they can't be because they've already had problems with people juicing and all this kind of stuff. They can't just put on, they don't. We want to change the MMA landscape. We want to do PFL Africa, PFL Europe. That's all well and good, but if on the main card, your biggest card, you're pitting a Francis Ngannou against a washed up, most likely on steroids, 41-year-old that you're not going to test properly, and he's not going to get found out, then I'm sorry, but that's not really doing much for me, is it? To be honest. So they've got to be smart in what they're doing. And it's not even happening for another year and a bit. So he's, 38 then? You better hope he's fine after that knee injury and everything's A-okay. Because I don't think he will lose because I think they'll probably give him someone he can beat. But, man.
I don't think they can give him someone that's going to beat him more than anything. Like, just the fact that who they got under contract. But, yeah, I don't know.
It's good for him. Good for him. I'm happy for him. He's done his thing. But
he also has the boxing clause as well.
Oh, the fact that he can see this boxing clause that people go on. I told you from the beginning, he's not going to get a big fighting, but it's not going to happen like this. Like, people don't understand. People MMA fighters, Francis will just walk into a heavyweight title fight, or he'll just walk in to fight Anthony Joshua. These guys have got $50 million offers on the table to fight each other. So why are they wanting to fight Francis Ngannou? Sorry. They're not.
Hang on.
No one's saying or a Derek Chisora. He's not what he's like. Oh, I want Anthony Joshua in Africa, mate. Keep dreaming. I've told you, Fury is not going to fight him. Wilder is probably not. These guys are not going to fight him unless they take another couple losses.
I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder did.
I would be. I would be very surprised if Wilder fought any of them fought Francis Ngannou in the next 2 years. That's a fact. It's a fact. These guys, what are they going to? Yeah, it's a fact. It just is like people think it's a guy. Oh, well, he's got the boxing. He go on and earn 100 million. He's not Conor McGregor. What's the most amount of pay-per-views that Ngannou sold? Because once he has a stinker on PFL, which I'm sorry, what they're going to sell 500k pay-per-views? It's not happening. Right? So what? He's going to have a stinker on PFL and go, oh, Tyson Fury, let's fight. He'll be telling you, jog on, mate. Jog on. That's what I'm saying. I want Francis to do well, but people need to be realistic about the situation. And I think a lot of media members don't like Dana White. So they're like, oh yeah, Francis is going to do this. He's going to show Dana White. Yeah, I hope he does, but it's not that simple, especially in the boxing world. They don't want to fight each other anyway. You know how difficult it is to make these fights. We always hear about it and they think, oh, I'll just waltz in. Negotiating on his own. No way.